It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Hope Madden.
And this is It's Movie Time. And what's burning about the film Burning? What is that?
I think it's a metaphor for maybe it's sort of the culmination of what happens when a generation of millennials don't have enough work to do. But it's a fascinating slow burn of a thriller.
Oh, great, yes. And I think as a young man, our protagonist is burning, certainly with desire for that young woman.
Well, I think just for desire for anything, right? I mean, I think that's one of the things that's fascinating about Jong-seo, who's the primary character, is that he doesn't really do anything. He seems to be looking to do something. And it's funny, there are so many films, he's a writer, though we never see him write. There are so many films that are built around that idea. You know, a writer who doesn't write, which I love.
This kid has the best affectless, if I could say.
Yeah, just blank.
Persona. He's just like, I think he's in an existential crisis. He's just pulling everything in.
Yeah.
He doesn't give much.
Yeah.
He just observes.
Yes.
Now, this is a South Korean
It is.
film.
Yeah.
And our director is...
Chang-dong Lee.
Yes, okay.
And it's funny, it's not a horror film by any stretch. It's a thriller, a slow-moving thriller, but it's
Right.
funny. I think that Korea probably puts out the best thrillers and horror films, of sort of globally, the modern, I would say maybe 10 years ago I would have said France, but right now it's definitely South
Yes.
Korea. They're just masterful films coming out of there, and this is another one.
Yes, and I think you used the term slow burn.
Yes.
And I think you were so right. Actually, it doesn't really become a thriller until the last half.
And it's because it's a full 2.5 hours, and it's a slow-moving movie, and yet I was never bored for 1 second. And there's the three primary characters are so eccentric, and what's going on, and Jong-seo's trying to kind of piece together what's going on, mainly because I think he often doesn't understand what's going on.
Right. What does he say? The world is a mystery?
Yeah. But this really is. He's stumbled into this mystery. He ran into somebody who at least says she grew up in his neighborhood. He doesn't seem to really recognize her. Hi, May.
I don't believe a word that woman says.
Well, that's, I think, one of the fascinating things about this movie is that it is a thriller, it is a mystery, but it's very untidy, which I love. It's not like at the end you're going, well, obviously these things all fit together. You're like, he comes to a conclusion, and you think, well, I think that's my conclusion too, but... which I love. And also, Stephen Yoon, who plays Ben, who's like the most enigmatic of the three characters.
Yes.
And I love his role. He's done a lot of American work. He was on Walking Dead. He was in the movie Mayhem, which I love. He was just this year in Sorry to Bother You. But this was a really different role for him, and I really thought he was amazing. And it is the first time I've seen him in a Korean film, too, which I thought was really interesting.
Well, he's the opposite of our protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's slick, communicative, handsome, rich.
He's got it all.
Right, everything that Jong-seo would like to be. And will never, ever get close to be.
But what I think is interesting? I feel like all of them are bored.
Yes.
And I always like there is an element in a lot of different horror films where that's dangerous. Bored young people, there's an element, a type of horror film that sees that as very dangerous.
Yes.
And to a certain degree, so does this movie.
And beyond the thriller, it's really a fine evocation of what it means not to have a purpose.
Yeah.
For a young person. I mean, he spends his time in Seoul or on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's on the farm, as elemental as that is, it seems sometimes good for him.
Right.
To be.
But at the same time, he wants to sell the calf.
Sure.
I mean, he's very just like rudderless, I think. But they all are. Even Ben, who's wealthy, he doesn't do anything.
No, he doesn't. In fact, I don't even know what his relationship with her is. I presume he's a lover, but we don't know.
No,
that.
we don't know. We don't know.
And we do know that Jong-seo gets lucky once with her.
Yeah.
And I think, as I recollect, he's looking there as they're making love, I believe, kind of looking like, is this really happening to me? Because nothing good ever happens to him.
Yeah, and it's funny because he doesn't seem to really participate in his own life. He observes it.
He does. And there's some beautiful photography.
Yes, there is.
Some long shots and wide shots that are really very nicely done.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous movie. And it's just so many interesting things that, because it's a thriller, you're trying to work it into the puzzle, which I love that they don't always necessarily fit because life is not tidy. Oh. Like, he lives so close to the border with North Korea that you can hear the propaganda.
Good point.
And it's funny because at first I thought, is that a drive-in? Does he live near a drive-in? What do I hear? And
it's the loudspeakers from North Korea.
I know. It's just like, oh, well, that's bizarre.
So he is always between worlds.
Yes. That's great. That's true.
I think one of the inspirations for this, besides a short story in their own language, is William Faulkner's Barn Burning, which is one of my favorite short stories by Faulkner, in which the protagonist sets fires to barns out of a rage. He's a working class, and you have the point of view of the son, who is kind of powerless in what his dad does. I remember the adaptation by film with Tommy Lee Jones playing the older man.
And they do have, I mean, so Jong-seo's, he's staying at the farm because his father has been arrested. His father, who's a violent, rageful, prideful man who could get out of the whole sentence, but he's too proud to write an apology letter, so he winds up in prison. So I think you're right. I think it definitely feeds into it. Yes.
It is, and that's what the later.
And is that, who did he say? They asked, who's your favorite writer? Did he say Faulkner?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. I know it. And the title is Burning.
Right. Absolutely.
But anyway, so I guess what we're suggesting is that there are layers to keep you interested.
Yes.
It's a long movie. It is slow because Jong-seo's life is slow until he meets her.
Right.
And resolving that is very difficult over the course of it. But what makes it interesting, and currently we have a almost fetish for young men who are lost. You know, boy erased. Beautiful boy.
Right. There's another Ben is Back comes out here pretty soon.
Yeah. So it seems to fit. Although, what would you guess Jong-seo's age to be? Early 20s?
No, I would put him a little older than that. I would put all of them probably in their late 20s.
Okay, and so that makes him a little bit different from our current teenage obsession.
Right.
But I think it's the same feel for me. Playwrights, screenplay writers are interested in young men who can be played by Lucas Hedges.
Sure. Well, you know, they should be. Lucas Hedges should be in everybody's movie. He's just brilliant.
I know.
And if he's not available, Timothy Chalamet. Those two kids. I'm always just amazed at what they can do. They're amazing actors, those two boys.
I do notice, however, that Michael Cera is coming back.
Nice.
I know he's in.
Maybe he doesn't have the same range, but I'm very fond of Michael Cera as well.
Oh, Hope Madden. The film is burning.
Yes.
And what grade would you award it?
A.
Oh, wonderful. And I'm going to give it an A- just to keep us honest. But I like your grade better.